In today's video, I am going to teach you how to calculate standard deviation in Excel. Standard deviation is a useful way to understand how spread out a set of numbers is. In Excel, you can calculate it very quickly with built-in formulas, as long as you know whether your data represents a sample or an entire population. For this example, we are going to use the values in cells B2 through B4, and we will place the results in column C, right next to the data. To begin, click cell C2, which is next to your data list. This is where the sample standard deviation result will appear. Placing the formula beside the data keeps the worksheet easy to read because you can see the original values and the calculated result in the same area. Once cell C2 is selected, you should see a border around it, showing that it is the active cell. Now you are ready to enter the formula for sample standard deviation. Type equals stdev.s, followed by an open parenthesis, then B2:B4, and then a closing parenthesis. The full formula should be equals stdev.s, open parenthesis, B2:B4, close parenthesis. This formula tells Excel to look at the values from cell B2 through cell B4 and calculate the standard deviation as if those numbers are a sample from a larger group. The .s version of the standard deviation formula is important when your numbers do not represent every possible value in the group you are studying. In many real situations, you only have a sample of data, such as a few test scores, a few measurements, or a small selection from a larger set. Excel uses the sample formula to adjust the calculation appropriately. After you have typed the formula into cell C2, press Enter on your keyboard. Excel will immediately calculate the sample standard deviation and display the result in that cell. At this point, you should see a number appear in C2 instead of the formula itself. The formula is still there in the background, and you can view it in the formula bar whenever cell C2 is selected. Next, we will calculate the population standard deviation using the same data range. Click cell C3. This gives us a separate place to show the population result, so you can compare it with the sample result above. Keeping the two results in different cells also makes it clear which formula was used for each calculation. With cell C3 selected, type equals stdev.p, followed by an open parenthesis, then B2:B4, and then a closing parenthesis. The full formula should be equals stdev.p, open parenthesis, B2:B4, close parenthesis. This formula uses the same set of values from B2 through B4, but it treats those values as the entire population rather than a sample. The .p version is used when your data includes every value in the group you want to analyze. For example, if the values in B2 through B4 are the complete dataset and there are no additional values outside that range, then population standard deviation is the correct choice. The difference between stdev.s and stdev.p is small, with some datasets, but it can still matter, especially when working with smaller groups of numbers. Once the population formula is entered in cell C3, press Enter on your keyboard. Excel will calculate the population standard deviation and display the result in C3. You now have both versions of standard deviation shown in your worksheet, the sample standard deviation in C2 and the population standard deviation in C3. That covers everything you need to know.